Cheney, can you send across an invite to Bryson Huxley, please? He didn't get one, so he's just trying to get on now. Thanks.
Just resent it to him. Thank you.
Sorry, John.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. So he'll be joining. Okay, thank you. What's going on here? Oh, well done there. Sorry about that. Okay, well, we have the roads. Welcome to the Taupō Roads and Reserves Committee meeting, 8th of February. First one in Zoom, I believe. So, do we have Janice here? No, we don't have any. Janice Wall doesn't appear to be. Okay, we'll go to apologies. We'll go to apologies anyway for start. So we have one from His Worship the Mayor, and two early departures. Anna would be wanting to leave at 2:10, and I'll be leaving about 1:20. I'd move they be accepted, Mr. Chairman. Okay, a seconder. Thanks, Anna. All in favour? Thank you. Aye. Number 2, conflicts of interest. No conflicts of interest. Thank you. No. Take us no. Number 3, confirmation of minutes. We have a move and second a true and correct record.
I'm happy to move, John.
Thanks, Kathy. Seconder.
I'll second.
Thanks, John. All in favour?
Aye.
So any matters arising? I'll just note the hole in one proposed, obviously the consultation submission process underway, so we'll look forward to the outcome of that. We hear from them in March, I believe, the March meeting. That's correct, Kevin?
Yeah, that was the plan, so I haven't heard otherwise, so yep.
Okay, there's no other.
John, could I just ask Kevin, how was the feedback from the operators over the Christmas New Year period with their ability to have the licence to occupy outside their eating establishments? Was it a positive?
Hopefully someone else was on the line that might be able to, but I was away most of the Christmas holiday and I haven't heard otherwise. So I imagine it was positive because when I've driven past there, it's been pretty fully well attended. Those. Yep.
Thank you.
Kathy, I stopped and asked at Victoria's how they've found things with having that additional area. And they said, yeah, it was certainly a struggle when the development was taking place, but that it has been great having that outdoor area.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks, Kathy. It's definitely, obviously, the feedback I've been getting as well over the summer. Actually, what's the positive vibes from there? So it's good news. So there's no other matter arising. We'll move to policy. We have a proposed new lease to Youthtown Incorporated at Constabulary Park with Greg. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah. So this is looking at. So you'll see in the item that the lease has expired for Youthtown. We need to go through that process again of granting a new lease, but they've also asked for an extended area because they're looking at doing some expansion to their existing site. So we don't see any problem with that because of the age of the reserve management plan down there. It doesn't really address these sort of situations, and so that's hence the need for public consultation. So the recommendation really is to go ahead, agree in principle to grant the new lease, and we've got that for that expanded area to Youthtown and negotiate a term and the conditions with them. But really this is about, in principle, are you happy with granting them a new lease for an expanded operation?
Just a quick question, John. Is there any cost to council?
So there's minor costs in terms of setting up the new lease and the process of doing that, but there's no, at this stage, there's no additional costs outside of that.
Okay, thank you.
Greg, with the obviously with the under the potential changes, obviously they're requesting that would be something done within, not necessarily with the consultation, but they, for example, the power and telecom internet to be continued, and the they say they don't want any water for the new Portacom, but apart from that, you mentioned the recommendation suggesting recommending a term between 15 and 33 years. I do know that the maximum term he gives is 33 years, but why are you suggesting 15, or it could be just up to 33 years and negotiate? That could be depending on the outcome of obviously consultation with the communities. What any reason why you suggested 15 years, or just?
So I guess that's the range. You probably wouldn't want to do any shorter than that, and they've indicated they wouldn't want shorter than that. But you can go up to 33 years. So that is something that's something that we would work through with Youthtown about the extent of that.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, so they're looking at it. Obviously, naturally they'll be looking at the longest, the least they can get. I get that, but previously it was 9 years. But you know, so okay, thanks for that. I understand.
Through the chair, subject to, I understand with the sports and recreation facility strategy that would be going out at some point to work out what the long-term sort of more holistic view is for these sort of facilities in Taupō. It obviously isn't going to be a priority in the next few years, I would have thought. Youthtown have a very established reputation. Everyone knows where they are. They have public transport to the site, and they also cater for all sorts of activities and programs for a wide variety of our youth. It is not just one sector of our youth, it is all youth, whether it's holiday program, whether it's a more tailored approach. And I just think with where we are at in the space of youth and mental well-being and all of that, it would be an injustice for us to not support this in principle and allow it to go out for consultation. So I'd be happy to move the resolution when it's appropriate.
I would agree.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, could I just have clarification of the recommendation? It does state between 15 and 33 years, subject to the outcome of public consultation and negotiation. To me, that reads that we would go to the public and say it's at least for X, or do we assume, or do we state it in the resolution that it'll be 33 years?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we would go back to, if you supported the recommendation, we would go back to Youthtown. You'll see that in their proposal that they've put forward, there's a number of things in there that are slightly different to what they're doing currently. So all of those would need to be incorporated in the lease, as well as the sort of term that they would be looking at. And we would consult on the results of that of those discussions with them.
Okay.
In terms of how long the term was.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Greg. Just getting back to Anna's point about the our commitment to the youth hub in the long term, how that may or may not shape up. Obviously, any lease they can go into, if that happened to change or become more of a collaborative thing with in the bigger picture, that would still be negotiable, wouldn't it, out of it? Or they could change. They're not committed to it.
Through the chair, I would have thought that would be up to future councils, but at this point, there is no youth hub on the table for us.
Yeah, that's well put. Yeah, obviously, but obviously there is a commitment. Yeah, that's obviously to the next governances. Okay, yeah, well, thanks, Greg. If there's any further questions or discussion, we have a mover and a poke and have a seconder.
Yes,
Kathy,
I'll second that.
All in favour?
Aye.
All right, thanks very much. Okay, at this stage, I'm just going to let John take over the chair, because I'll be exiting in about 5 minutes. 4.2. Thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. Is Bryson online?
Yes, I just sorted my audio issue out. So I've missed everything. Sorry.
Well, are you prepared to just address your paper and then we'll have the discussion?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So, like I said, I only just been able to hear you guys, so I can now begin, I guess. Hopefully I can, if I can share my screen. Can you see that? Oh, hang on, no, there, that might be better. Can you see the map of Tongariro Street there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool. So on the first piece, first item in the traffic control updates is parking time limit changes to Tongariro Street, and that's really to account for all the new car parks were installed there. So first off, we took a plan through to the businesses along Tongariro Street that showed retaining the 60-minute parking along the shop fronts, and then some more 60-minute parking in the middle. And their feedback to us was, could we have some parking that's a bit more longer? And so we went back and we came up with this plan that you've seen inside your paper today. So with this plan, we're essentially allowing some longer term parking in the middle, and some even longer term on the domain side, and that's really just to encourage people to park in these places, especially at the top of Spa, near Spa Road, to park once and then walk around the town, and also provides people an opportunity to be able to go shop and then and eat in a cafe as well. Gives them plenty of time for all those activities they want to do in town without only having to park once instead of jumping back in their car and moving around again. And so that's kind of where the basis of the plan is. In terms of occupancy, in this top end of Tongariro Street, we had plenty of occupancy, and therefore allowing some extra some longer time limit parks was perfectly ideal. There's not going to be any future capacity issues in that sense. So I'm sure you've all read it and looked through. So we've essentially the plan is to retain the 60 minutes along the shop front, and that's mainly because there's obviously going to be some people still wanting that quick in and go to a couple of shops and then leave again. So just provide that some short-term parking. And then in the centre there, we've allowed a little bit more extra time. 120 minutes up the top, 180 minutes along the domain side, and then on the next section, 90 minutes in the middle, and then still the 180 on the domain side there.
Is there any discussion from councillors at this stage? Thanks, Bryson.
Okay, so the next one, hopefully I've got it here. So this loading zone was installed on advice from the business that's there, the op shop. We've went through the consultation through the installation of these signals at Te Tirapanga and Te Hiuhiu. We had discussions with them about their parking and their parking needs, and this is essentially why our compromise, because we couldn't install parking as much parking as they wanted. This was kind of our compromise to them, is to install this loading zone so that their customers can drop off large items or pick up large items through this loading zone area, and that's so they can still receive donations and still have people be able to collect them.
Any comment from councillors? Thanks, Bryson.
I believe that's the only two items on today's list. So if there's anything else, at that time I'm kind of done there.
Well, is someone prepared to move the recommendations as shown?
Yeah, I'm prepared to move. It's Kevin.
Second,
I'll second.
any further discussion? Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you.
Very
Sorry, Chair.
efficiently, cheers.
Yeah, so Bryson, can you stop sharing your screen? Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that appears to be it, ladies and gentlemen.
Well cheered, John.
I'll declare the meeting closed.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Cheers, guys.